Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, for her part, was not having any of this. She suggested that the remedy here, with getting rid of mifepristone for everybody, was ridiculously broad, especially given the highly unlikely and as yet totally hypothetical harm that could be done to this group of 7 physicians and dentists.
Counsel, can I ask you about the remedy and sort of the way that I was talking with the SG? I mean, it makes perfect sense for the individual doctors to seek an exemption, but as I understand it, they already have that. And so what they're asking for here is that in order to prevent them from possibly ever having to do these kinds of procedures, everyone else should be prevented from getting access to this medication. So why isn't that plainly overbroad scope of the remedy the end of this case?
From that question, we finally got Ms. Hawley's central argument as to why national restrictions must be imposed to shield these 7 doctors.
These are emergency situations. Respondent doctors don't necessarily know until they scrub into that operating room whether this may or may not be abortion drug harm. Because these are emergency situations, they can't waste precious moments scrubbing in.
No. I'm saying assuming we have a world in which they can actually lodge the objections that you say that they have. My question is, isn't that enough to remedy their issue? Do we have to also entertain your argument that no one else in the world can have this drug, or no one else in America should have this drug in order to protect your clients?
So again, Your Honor, it's not possible given the emergency nature of these situations.
Counsel, let me interrupt there. I'm sorry.
That was a real argument before the Supreme Court today, that mifepristone has to be banned for everyone after 7 weeks of pregnancy because emergency room doctors don't have time to wash their hands repeatedly. We will have to wait until June to know what the court thinks of that. Jessica.
Yeah.
Scrubbing in and scrubbing out. It's just too much for doctors, therefore no mifepristone for anybody. I mean, I found it appalling, but also shocking if that can even be possible.
You know, I almost didn't find it shocking or surprising, because the group of doctors that they brought forth with this case are such an egregious, radical group of anti-abortion extremists. This is very much who they are. They don't care about patients. They don't care about women's health. This is a group, one of the doctors that they have involved in this case, this is a group that wants doctors to be forced to give women with life-threatening pregnancies C-sections instead of abortions. That's how radical they are. And I really don't want that to get lost in this conversation, that these doctors, they're not run-of-the-mill. This is not one good faith side of a political debate.
Yeah, I wonder, Carrie, when you listened to I'll call it skepticism from the part of some conservative justices, do you feel like this case, and I'm just going to limit to this case because we'll talk about the broader landscape for reproductive freedom in a second, but do you feel like Josh Hawley, Aaron Hawley, I shouldn't say Josh Hawley, Josh Hawley, Aaron Hawley's husband, but Aaron Hawley is making a case that goes anywhere with this court?
It didn't sound like it. It sounded like the court was prepared to dismiss the case on standing. The standing is so weak, but not just the standing. The facts are weak. The science, the law is weak. This case is weak across the board. It's absurd that it's even before the Supreme Court. Mifepristone, as you said, is so safe, safer than Tylenol. It should be over the counter. It's been highly restricted simply because the anti-abortion movement has been pushing from the very beginning to restrict access, to prevent people from being able to access the drug. So, I'm hoping that the court will dismiss it, but the anti-abortion movement will not give up. They will come back. The Project 2025 has promised that if a Republican president gets into office, that he will direct the FDA to pull mifepristone from the market, or at least restrict telemedicine abortion, which has been a key way that more people have accessed abortion. So they're not going to give up, even if the court does dismiss this case.
Dahlia, why did the court take this case up? Is this damage control post-Dobbs? I mean, what was the point of this? Was it to just give Clarence Thomas what he wants, which is absurd hearings on any manner of social issues?
Not exactly. The court has a structural problem, and the structural problem is that anybody who wanted to file this case could go down to Amarillo, Texas, where Judge Matthew Kaczmarek is it's like putting, your quarter in the candy bar machine. The only judge you were going to get in Amarillo was Judge Kaczmarek. And then they knew that after getting him, he'd do something incredibly dopey, like file a nationwide injunction, making it impossible for anyone in the country to get this drug. And so we have a forum shopping, a judge shopping problem in this country that I should note the courts are trying to address now. But for the moment, the court has the problem of one rogue judge, a rogue Fifth Circuit that blessed huge chunks of his irrational, indefensible logic, and the court had no choice but to take this case. And so I think as long as we have kind of judges that are way, way, way to the fringes, judges who make Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas look like kind of centrist moderates like they did today, those cases are going to rocket up to the court, and the court is going to be embarrassed, and they were embarrassed today, and they're going to have to take them and bat them away. So that's just a problem with judge shopping. It's a problem with fake facts and, as Kerry said, bad science that somehow makes it into the court's lap, and then the court has to sort of muck out the stall.
If it makes you feel any better, I have already put evac on alert. He's ready to go if it comes to that. General, I can assure you.
Hey, General, let me into the war room to see you, so I had to hack my way onto this frequency.
This better be critical, Wheelie.
Sir, come on, when is it not, please? Okay, couple of things. I'm running low on the dough. I was thinking about taking a couple of months sick leave, maybe starting today. And, oh yeah, I intercepted a transmission from Megatron.
Then send it through.
Yes, sir, right away, sir. And so I'll assume that we're going on the other stuff.
This is your last warning, insects. Relinquish what remains of the Allspark.
So who's the insect? You? What? Who's the insect?
Protect you. They were defeated on our world, and we will defeat them here.
The Megatron.
This was just a diversion. Security teams bring up. Rabbit, she's already inside. Deeds! Give me an update on that reserve. Boss readiness. What was his name? What was it?
Evac, sir.
Right, evac.
She's right in front.
We're facing a heavy, sustained attack. They appear to be after the Allspark craft. General Marshall! General! Need this evac immediately. Evac. Hold on. National security advisor. Stay down. Check it out. Failed their business operations. The amateurs on a suicide mission.